welcome back to Mornings on Main Street. Again, thanks Ashley Perham for joining us for that great article, which you can read in Main Street Nashville. You get the e-edition, just delivered to your inbox every day. Subscribe, and boom, all the great news is right there for you. All right, so yesterday, researching stories and kept looking through things, and I came out on an article about professional arm wrestling, and I tell you, I was fascinated about this process and what goes on. So let's bring in Jason Gulley with NeverBeenBeat.com. My man, how are you, buddy?
Good morning, Big Joe. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Man, thanks for taking the time to do this. I told a few people last night about professional arm wrestling. They're like, you got to be kidding me. And I said, watch this morning on the show and see it. Take me back to professional arm wrestling. How did you get started in all this?
Well, I was a guy in the lunchroom. Me and you was sitting there eating. I was like, hey, Big Joe, let's grip up, man. Let's see if I can take you. So I started way back. I always loved arm wrestling. I love arm wrestling my dad. I love arm wrestling my uncles. I was that little kid that just strictly just liked to arm wrestle. So that's really the backstory of how I started. Now, fast forward kind of into the Marine Corps. I served the Marine Corps from 01 to 06. And when I was in Iraq in 2005, my last tour, I decided to host a little small arm wrestling tournament at the Rec. Me and a couple civilian private contractors hosted it. And it's funny because that was one of the first times I got beat. There was this guy, Bigelow. This dude was massive, had these big hoops in his ears, and everybody was crowded around the table. We did it like on a lunch table, and the thing was bending and breaking, and it went on forever, and he ended up pinning me. And I think that's where the love came in, is just that fight, and I wanted to go further. So 2007, I looked up arm wrestling in Google and found a tournament in my home state of Tennessee in a place called Sweetwater.
Yeah.
So then I entered the competition. I did really good. There was a guy named Blake Perry. He was the state champion, and me and him arm wrestled forever and really hit it off. And he was like, man, you got a really good future in arm wrestling. And so I knew at that moment I really needed to stick with it and pursue it. So
now here's a Facebook page, Never Been Beat, from all the information that's on there. Yeah. I love the Facebook page. It's really cool. Now you train people or practice with people every weekend. Is it at your house?
Yes, sir. It is Sunday at 5:00. So if you're out there watching this and you want to get into arm wrestling, please look up Never Been Beat on any social media platform. I host practice on Sunday at 5:00. I would love to meet you, show you some of the techniques. If you just want to do it leisurely, come over and hang out with the guys in arm wrestle, or if you want to meet the circuit and pursue it, there's tournaments all over the state. So yeah, there's definitely an avenue to pursue professional arm wrestling. Never Been Beat is something a little different that I'm pursuing. And if you'd like, Joe, I'd break into that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely, Jason.
Okay. So Never Been Beat is a show that I'm creating with Sean Silva with Tackle Box Films. The concept is that, say your guest out there, they have a guy that has literally never been beat at arm wrestling. So I need your help, Joe. If you got a buddy, or if anybody watching this has a buddy that has literally never been beat at arm wrestling, like if you look on my Facebook page, Derek Barrett from Milton, Tennessee, he has literally never been beat at arm wrestling. All right. The show is going to be about another never been beat guy beating another never been beat guy, and backstories of their family. I met Sean Silva, and I come up with this concept, which is really cool, and I love it and all, but I needed a storyteller, and I showed Sean a little video that I made in my exhibition, and then he pulled out his laptop and showed me a story of like Jason Aldean, and and I just started bawling, dude. And Keith Lehman, the videographer, was sitting there, and he was like, "This is what I do, man. I just follow him around and cry all the time." I was like, "Dude, I had cried forever, man." So I was like, "This is my storyteller." So he's going to come up with a format and a story, but whether it's arm wrestling, golf, darts, pool, bowling, the show essentially is about two never been beat guys, because I think there's something more than just a professional athlete that capture our imagination. As you know, Joe, 2% of people make it in the pro. There's a lot of guys that stick around towns. I played football at MTSU. I didn't make it in the pro, but there's a lot of buddies that know me and know that, I was quick at nose guard. And I think that story needs to be told. And God's put me to tell it. So that's what it's all about.
I love it. So the guy you're talking about that's never been beat on your Facebook page and never been beat, the guy, like your cover photo, is that the guy you're talking about?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's Derek Barrett.
How big is he? How big is he?
He's a big boy. He's about 6'3", I'm going to just guess 350, 320. Yeah, and he's solid. He's country. And Joe, you played sports, and there's a difference in like the aesthetics of like a bodybuilder and the utility of like a country boy. He's got that country boy strength, that natural raw strength. We didn't arm wrestle because, again, I'm trying to. I want to team him up. I believe there's a guy out there that may be better than the Michael Jordan of arm wrestling, John Brzink, and I'm on the pursuit to find him. Maybe he's lingering around some lumber yard somewhere, but that's how Never Been Beat's going to find him.
Is that him? There's that John right there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There's a documentary called Pulling John. John Brzink has dominated the sport of arm wrestling. Have you ever seen the movie Over the Top?
Yeah, with Stallone.
Yes, sir. He won that truck. That was an actual tournament.
Whoa.
That was like a 3-series tournament that they took all that and all that content and made a movie out of it. And John Brzink, at 18 years old, won that tournament. And for the next, he's been at it. He's on a comeback right now at 40 years of arm wrestling. He's dominated the world. He lives in Arizona right now. He's a good friend of mine. And, he loves the brand, and
that is
he
cool.
won that at the guy, number one guy from Florida. He beat him and won that sign right there that you're looking at.
Oh, that is so cool. Jason, what I love about this is I love people who have passion. I don't care if it's passion for planting flowers or for hanging drywall. Passion to me makes the world go round. And your passion for this is so palpable that I can just feel it through the screen. And it's just really cool, man. It's just really cool.
Yes, sir. The thing is, I grew up. I don't know whether it's putting roofs on, laying brick. My dad's a general contractor, RG Builders out of Fairview, and I was always hanging around him. He was also a Kirby vacuum cleaner salesman, so I had all these great experiences with these men that just made me passionate. To want to tell the story of all the experiences I had and stuff like that. Because there's so many times where wrestling or arm wrestling and just these awesomely skilled people that may not have been out in the limelight or may not have been pursuing something, or maybe they just didn't feel comfortable articulating everything in the world. But there's a big story to be told there, and it gets me fired up just to think that maybe me and you one day will be like at a construction site with this guy with wrists double the size of mine,
Wasn't there a movie? Clint Eastwood had that movie where they'd go on those construction sites every which way but loose. They'd fight. They'd box each other. So this is the same thing, but for arm wrestling.
Yeah, and not just for arm wrestling. Again, Keith Lehman and I decided that we're going to do different things. Think of like Kimbo Slice. You know how Kimbo Slice had that Raw boxing on YouTube that was everybody had seen Kimbo Slice, and then he went into the UFC. Well, there's not going to be no UFC. It's just going to be the back room. So whether it be a pool player down here at MJ's pool hall that can beat everybody at MJ's, or a dart player at the local dart
Love
place.
it.
A guy, he's like, man, he's killing everybody down there on Thursday. Nobody can beat him. We're going to take that guy and somebody from like Hendersonville and pit them together and get their backstory. And the show's going to be called Never Been Beat. So that's
what a great idea, Jason. Such a great idea. All right, man. So you got my number and everything. Whatever you got coming up down the road, let us know. We'll bring you back on. We'll continue promoting what you're doing because I love it, man. So thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Big Joe. Appreciate everything you do, man. Keeping us all connected.
All right, thank you, buddy. Jason Gulley from Never Been Beat. There's a Facebook page. Look it up. And it's really cool. I mean, who thought arm wrestling, it would have this great subculture like it does? And it does, thanks to guys like Jason. Very cool. All right, we'll come back. We'll wrap the show up with celebrity birthdays. That's next.